straps, we've got sweat towels, and just fun little awards to win. And then the center square is another feature of the week. So to get your center square, that is our Move Free Challenge. And that is where your friends who've never been before, they can come for free that week. And you can bring as many friends as you want to. Just get them signed up. The QR code is right there to help get them signed up. And then we'll take it from there. It's more than just the unlimited classes. We have a whole program for them that's coming to them over email. So it's a pretty cool thing. We haven't done it like this before, so I'm excited to see how people like it. So those are the most of it. And then the Himalayan Institute retreat is different from all of that. If you're interested in a retreat, this is like our closest, most affordable. It's just a 3-hour drive north on 81. And we're staying at the Himalayan Institute. We've been there before. It's a Thursday night through a Sunday afternoon. Yoga, meditation, hiking, incredible food, beautiful setting, great people. I can tell you all about that another time. If you're interested, I'll be the teacher taking everyone there. All right, let's get started. I don't want to use up any of your yoga time. Start in child's pose. Let's get a little bit more light in the space. Settle your hips back to your heels. Bring your forehead down to the mat and stretch your arms long. Then take a deep breath in. Fill your lungs up until they feel quite like they could burst. Hold it, and then take a sigh and exhale and let it all out. Let the day go. Let yourself have the luxury of just being right here in your skin and on your mat, here in the studio or on your mat at home or wherever you are. Build your slow, steady, deep, rhythmic breath. While you're here, squeeze each one of your fingertips down to your mat and create a connection, a foundation with your hands. Roll the weight over to the baby finger and then settle it into the thumb side of the hand. And if they feel kind of narrow, set them wide. And on your next breath, lift your body up into downward facing dog. And then as you come into your downward facing dog, start moving your legs around, your feet around, and get a foundation for your feet. I always love to stretch my toes out, stretch the arches of my feet out, and then set up a nice wide base. Hi, Kyle. It's all right. Inhale and tippy toe. Come way up on your tippy toes. Stay high like that. Exhale, bend your knees to hover so your toes are really folded in half and stretching. Then inhale, lift your hips up high. As you exhale, press your heels down into the mat. Let's do that again. Inhale, tippy toe. Exhale, bend your knees and hover. Inhale, lift your hips high. Exhale, press your heels down one more time. Tippy toe. Bend your knees and hover. Inhale, lift your hips high. Exhale, press your heels down. Now raise your right leg into the air behind you. Bend your knee, heel to your hip, and turn your hips open. Your right hand can press into the ground while you lift your right knee up. Stretch up and go back, and then bring that foot to the floor. Left leg into the air. Lift it up. Press your left hand deep down into your mat. Left leg up in the air. Lift it up and go back. You stretch, and then bring your foot to the floor. Look forward to the front of your mat and step up to the front of your mat. Set your feet up parallel and hip width distance. Then lift up halfway, whole body long, and hang down. At first, just fold your arms and sway from side to side and see if the foundation you've set up is working, maybe a little wider for some of you. And then with your arms dangling down, walk your fingertips over to the right. You can straighten your left leg, bend your right leg, and let your head hang. Breathe and stretch out your left back. Take another deep breath in. Open up your mouth and sigh. Then walk your hands the other way over to the left. Straight right leg, bent left leg, head hanging. I'd love to feel the stretch on the top of my right hip all the way through to my right ribs with this stretch. Come to the center, press your feet down into the ground, maybe organize them if they became disorganized in that last move. Press them down, come rolling up to standing all the way up. Sweep your arms overhead, look up, reach up, and then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. Set your gaze. Find one still point in the room to settle your eyes on. 3 times, we'll chant Om together. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up, fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway, high plank to low plank with your exhale. Then inhale, lift and stretch upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths, fill up and empty out. 2 more, breathe in, empty, steady. 1 more time, deep breath in, full breath out, bend your knees, jump to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, flat back, and fold. Press down, stand up, reach and go back, fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway, low plank on the exhale. Upward facing dog, roll over your toes, downward facing dog. Deep breath in and empty. You might need to soften your knees as you stretch your hips back away from your fingertips. 1 more breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, flat back, and fold. Press down, stand up, reach and go back. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. I'm going to give you all the challenge I see David taking on with his feet. Through our next sun salutation, as you're able to, keep all 10 of your toes in the air in every move. That was your idea, David. Take 1 more deep breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Here you go, halfway lift. Just lift your 10 toes and fold. Keep them in the air. Press your feet down, stand up, toes lifting, lift up and look. Fold to the floor. Keep them active. Halfway lift, low plank, just drop. Upward facing dog. Now roll over your toes, downward facing dog. Breathe. Did you feel a little bit of different heat and action in your legs with your toes up in the air like that? I use that a lot when I'm practicing. Get ready. Here's the last breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose is next. Sit back and reach your arms high. Stay right here and breathe and lift your 10 toes. Quickly peek down at your feet if you see that they're turning out. Open them wider and try to create them as parallel to one another. Then stretch your fingers in front of you. Take another breath and fold to the floor with your exhale. Halfway lift, drop to your low plank. If your toes are active like that, you'll float more easily. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge for warrior 1. Lift up and look, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step. Lift up, look up, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now, as you look back at your feet, just imagine they're sinking down into the ground, kind of like your feet feel when you're standing at the edge of the ocean, if you've ever felt that. Let your feet sink down and hug them inward a little bit. And then with your active toes, take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, sit, stretch, fold to the floor. Half lift, drop to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward. So step for a long stride and bend your knee, then reach. Hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step. Deep lunge, look up, straighten that back leg, hands down, chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog. When you let your feet sink down into the sand and hug them in, you light up the center line. Can you feel your inner leg lighting up? Take a breath, bend your knees, and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose, sit back and reach. Fold for the floor. Half lift, drop, low plank. Up dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward and lunge. We're going to hold this one. Once you get into your warrior one and you're lunging, reaching, take your right hand and press it. It's going to be easier with your left hand, and press it on the inside of this thigh. A lot of you are experiencing, what I'm watching is you're pushing forward and out, and your hips are turning to the side like mine are right now. Press against this and pull back into your pelvis. So instead of this thigh bone going out, it's pulling in. There, give yourself that pressure. I can see the change in your legs. That's it, Brian. Roll in just like you just now did. Good, it's different in all of your legs. Look up and reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Could you feel the difference? Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left side, step your left leg forward and lunge. So you'll leave your left hand down, hug the inner thigh, right arm in the air, breathe. Once you feel the action of your thigh hugging against your pressing palm, also lift the pit of your belly. Keep on breathing. Feel your thigh pull back. So you're going to have to keep breathing. It'll go here. Bring a little weight into your big toe. Yeah, now lift the pit of your belly. You got it. Feel the difference? One more breath. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Deep breath in and have a sigh. Now we're going to do one more sun salutation B so you can work and find that inner thigh fire that you were just building. One more breath. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose, sit and reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward and lunge, warrior one. Pull your thigh bone back, lift your belly, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Really good, actually. I looked around the room, really good. Upward dog, downward dog, left side step. Reach up, pull your thigh back, lift your belly, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Good. Now, raise your right leg into the air, bend your knee, and flip the pose over and keep on breathing. Steady breath the whole way through to flipping over to your wheel pose. You might be one-armed wheel. You might reach all the way over to two-armed wheel. You're so close. Take another breath, then side plank. Right hand on the mat, left arm in the air, like you're a capital letter T that's tilted over on its side. Press your feet away from you while you draw your armpit up into your body. One more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left leg in the air. Bend your knee, heel to your hip. Flip your left side over. 2 feet to the floor. Now let your feet feel like they're sinking down into the sand here and hug them inward toward one another. So a sensation of both knees hugging and squeeze like you feel the pressure that we just created in the warrior one, pressing against your inner knee, and you press back with your imaginary hands. One more breath. Side plank. The left hand goes down. Face the long right side of your mat. Stack your body up. Long through your bottom side body. Good. Could hug the bottom knee into your chest while you're tilted on your side here. You could lift your top leg into the air. Whichever one you're doing, hug the pit of your belly in so there's not strain on your lower back. Now float high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead. Steady breathing, settle your gaze. That's it. Lunge down a little deeper into your front legs. And then once you've got the deep lunge until your thighs parallel to the floor, lift your belly all the way up and go back. You'll feel the stretching from your back ankle all the way up through to your chin. One more breath. Hands to prayer position and twist your left elbow to your right knee. That's it. Get your elbow settled there. And then press your reaching heel, press it behind you, just like that. That's it, Allison. Stretch your whole spine long as you twist. 2 more breaths. Here's the last one. Really wring it out. Then reach up to the crescent lunge. Open to warrior 2. Keep your breath flowing here. Back foot, you can angle your toes inward. That's it, Erin. Deep, deep lunge. Stretch your arms and tilt. Extended side angle. You'll want to bend your front leg knee a lot. And see if you can be aware of this. If you can let your elbow press against your inside knee of your front leg, and then feel the stretching from your groin out to your inner knee. Just keep reaching out from the center to the knee at the periphery. And then on the other side of the knee, back in the hip. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Then we'll do the left side, step forward. Arms overhead. The left leg steers the back bend here. So bend your front knee a lot. Wake up the back leg. See if you can press your hamstrings, the back of the thigh. Yes, Nan, up to the ceiling. The back of your foot to the wall behind you. And then see if you can reach up a little higher. You got it. Stretch up through your waist. Look up to the ceiling. Good. Hands to prayer and twist. Right elbow to your left knee. Strong back leg. And then stretch your sides long. Both of them. The right side and the left side of your body. Good. You got it, Marianne. Keep getting long and twisting. 1 more inhale. Turn on your exhale. Reach up to the crescent lunge. Stretch. Open to warrior 2. Get settled in your feet. Stretch your arms and tilt. Extended side angle. A little pressure with maybe your elbow or your arm on your inside knee. Maybe instead of just feeling the lengthening of the inner thigh, what you're feeling is from the back of the knee, drawing back into your pelvis. You got it. Then draw your belly in. Make your body long and lean. 2 more breaths. Chest up if you can. Last breath, then hands to the floor for chaturanga. Empty it out. Upward facing dog. Breathe in, fill up. Downward facing dog. Stretch. Give yourself a little stretch. Take another breath. Have a sigh. Another inhale. Exhale, bend your knees. Jump up to your hands. Half lift. Forward fold. We'll take a chair twist. Sit back into your feet. Reach with your arms so your whole body is as long as it can be. Your hips are reaching back as far as they'll go. Keep all that length. Hands to prayer. Twist. Don't worry about getting turned. While your hips reach to the back of the mat, think about your head reaching to the front, your gaze to the front right corner of your space. That's it, Allison. Now everyone sit deep and stretch your body long. 2 more breaths. Last one. Twist. Reach up to chair. Forward fold. Nice. Hook your big toes and stretch down. You can shake your shoulders out, shake your head out. Maybe shift your weight from side to side. Get ready for the twist the other way. Set it up. Chair twist. Steady breathing. Try to get this pulling back of the hips and stretching long of the body, and then turn. Now, the default in turning is we get all this setup going, and then we just fling ourselves to the side. Try to keep it long. When you're ready, you could open your arms, half bind or full bind. Okay, all this is set up really well. So just sit there. Now bring this back in and stretch this one long. There, feel? Keep stretching over here now. Don't let me win this tug of war. You got it. If you want the arm, you got your arms open. Let's take another inhale. Lengthen and twist. Reach up to the chair pose. That was good. Forward fold. Gorilla pose, stand on your palms. Stand on your hands. You can pressure the weight into your wrist and just stretch it. Shift from side to side and shake your head. Let your head hang down, Mark. Let your shoulders hang. That's it. We'll take the crow pose next. So handstand hands. So you need fingers gripping. Diamond-shaped legs outside of your armpits. Now tilt until the weight feels like it's sitting between the base of your palm and your fingertips, like right there across your knuckles. And then start your breathing. When you exhale, press the floor and lift your core. Nice, Brian. 2 more breaths. Last one. Then chest forward, chaturanga. Jen, try and Brian, a wider set of your hands next time. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Let's have a redo. Come forward. I'm not going to say this is to benefit Ryan and Jen because I want you to be nice to them after class. But try everyone setting your hands wider. So they had just a little bit more narrow of the shoulders. A lot of you are under your shoulders. See about setting it so your hands just like hang off the edges of your mat and tilt into the pose. Maybe your toes won't touch, but you're going to find a different kind of base here. You got it. Now press the floor, lift your core. 2 more breaths. Brian, try the other leg this time. That's it, Aaron. Now light. It's hard on the other side leg's like the bad leg. Chaturanga for everyone. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Nice work. Do you guys want to try what Brian was trying? Let's go for round 3. Crow pose one more time. Come up into your crow pose. Set your wide setup. Tilt forward with your body. And then just give this a little try. You don't have to do everything he was just doing. See if you can shift your weight just to one hand. That might be enough. And then maybe just hang one knee in the center. You could try the other knee then. See if you can take a knee off and put it on. Just a little play. Or if you're feeling super crazy, both hang in the center. I can't show you that one. Finish up what you've got going on and step back into downward facing dog and stretch out your wrists. In fact, put your knees on the ground and just turn your wrists over. Don't put any pressure on them. Just turn them over. That was kind of like a lot of using your wrists for everybody, I imagine. Just stretch them out. And then let's go back to your downward facing dog. Stretch back and take a breath, and then come up to your hands. Come all the way up to standing once you've gotten to the front of your mat. Reach your arms overhead. We'll take eagle pose. Right arm under, squat, right leg over. It's a whole different world when you do your crow pose 3 times in a row, isn't it? It's a little humbling. I mean, if I were in your position, I'd be like, why are we doing this? And when you do it a couple times, you get access to things you didn't could do in the pose. It's always a blessing to get to do a thing multiple times. All right, step out. Left side pose here. Left arm under, left leg over. Eagle pose. Steady breathing. Sit deep. Another breath. And step out. Hug your right knee into your chest. Then if you've got a strap or with your hands, hold on to your right foot and extend your knee forward. Doesn't have to fully straighten, as best you can. And then work on just dropping it down, your right hip down. When it drops down, make the right side of your body as long as you can. Breathe, maybe use a sigh. See if you can settle into your skin here. Then open your leg to the right, look and reach to the left. Bring your leg forward, hug your knee into your chest. Open up to airplane pose. Kicking foot, reach it back. Imagine it standing on a wall behind you so that you get sturdy and steady. Then lift your chest and open up. Hands to prayer position, half moon. Left arm down, right arm up. Keep your breath flowing. Here's a nice chance to feel the stretching of the inner thigh of your standing leg. From whatever you feel like is the center of you, all the way out to the periphery, you stretch. Forward fold and hang. Sway from side to side. If you're using the strap, grab it and come on up to standing. Hug your left knee into your chest. That's it. If you feel like you're leaning back to push your knee into your hand or your foot into your hand, draw it back and stand tall the same way you drew your thigh bone back in the warrior pose. Then open your leg to the left. Look and reach to the right. Whole body expanding from the center out. And bring your leg forward. Hug your knee. Airplane pose. Open up and reach back. Keep your breath flowing. Bring some upward dog into your pose. Aaron and everybody lift your chest up, even a little bit more. Up and shoulders back. You can look a little in front of you. There you go. Hands to prayer, half moon. Right arm down, left arm up. Just press up with this outer shin. Nima, press up. Yep, just like that. All that action. Another breath. Don't you feel super sturdy doing that? Forward fold and hang. Really good work. Sway from side to side. Come rolling up to standing. We'll do standing bow. So right arm bone back, forearm open. Hold your ankle from the inside, left arm in the air. Stretch up and kick. Mark knee straight behind you. I always like looking for the center line. I see a lot of you doing, turning your palm to the side so you can imagine hugging against a wall. And the inside of your knee behind you, hugging against a wall. Press and it'll help you get steady. That's it, Ryan. Yeah, just like that. Just keep that little bit of pressure. It makes your shin hug in. Switch sides. Left hand, reach back to your left ankle. Kick back, so knees start together. Can you bring that in? That's it, Allison. Kick straight back. And then just whether it's that you're pressing on a wall that's in like down the center line of you, nice. You feel it affecting your inner shin. I love that. I think it's so cool. Now you're kicking knee, just the inner knee. Press it against this imaginary wall. Keep hugging the front. Yeah, really good. One more breath. So solid. Come on out. 2 feet on the floor. Let your whole body settle, your breath settle. Let's do a second set. Right arm back, left arm in the air. Second set. Those additional sets are the blessing. They're the place where there's so much progress. Breathe and kick and stretch. Let me help you with your grip here, David. Feel how your shoulders, I know it's tricky though. It takes time. Yeah, be patient with yourself about it. Yes, it's a tricky grip. Keep breathing. Imagine you're hugging against this center line. A little more hug if you have it. Back inner knee, hug it to this imaginary wall, slicing down through the center of the pose. Really good. Feel your standing shin. Step out. So good. Okay, we've got one more side, one more set. Set up the last side. Knees together to start and kick straight back. And let's let your back elbow stretch just like that. Good. Breathe and reach. And hug. Right against here, you just gently hug. Yep. Let your inner shin hug and your back knee hug in. A little more pressure here. Right in here especially. Good. That's it, Brian. You got it. No. Oh, it's a little too much. That was good, though. Step out. Good. Just stand on your 2 feet. That pose is the best right when it's over. Okay, let's take tree. Left foot down, right foot up. And then from here, first palms together, just settle your whole system. Then interlace your fingers and press them forward and take them overhead. Stretch. Similar stretch can be had with the prayer hands in the back. You pick. We're looking for this outside wrist and outside forearm to stretch. And pit of the belly in. Draw the pit of your belly into your body and lift so your whole body gets long. Okay, switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. Can you feel this quality of your thigh hugging into the sole of your foot? Or if your foot's at the shin, the 2 points hugging together. Instead of just sort of leaning on your leg like it's a pole, bring some action against your inner foot. Good, I can see some of that happening. All right, step out front of your mat, sweep your arms overhead, fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift halfway. Chaturanga when you exhale. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward for triangle pose. The longest stride you have, 2 flat feet, 2 knees that are straight-ish and stretch. We want the knuckle of your front foot's big toe to be anchored into the ground. You got it. You feel your inner thigh? Okay, good. Good. Deep inner thigh stretch. A little bit of pit of the belly stretch as you draw it into your body and up to your chin. It'll release your lower back. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat, hands to your hips, chest up high, forward fold. Double check that your feet are parallel to the sides of your mat, and then walk your fingertips forward and hollow out your palms. Then sink your hips back behind your heels. Now breathe into your side body. We're going to need the side body to take back bends in just a little while. Breathe and let the breath help you to lengthen all the space between your ribs on the side back part of your ribs. I think that is so incredible now in my practice. That's probably why right now I practice. And what I miss if I haven't is getting all this space right here at the bottom and the back of my ribs. Walk your hands in, come up to standing and face the front of your mat. Standing, single leg, forward fold. You've got your right leg forward, like they're on skis, so they're separated to the sides. You need length. Then pick up your front foot's 5 toes and then start to hinge. I'm just pulling my right hip back and focusing this big toe knuckle down. You might land with your hands on a block. You might get your hands down to the ground. You give yourself the block, David. Yep. Breathe there. A split Hanumanasana is a choice as well. Steady breathing. A little softness to your front knee, Kyle, so you can bring that big toe down. There you go. Keep your legs. Feel how they are right now and keep that. Twisting triangle. Left fingertips to the block or floor under your left shoulder. Reach your right arm out to the side and turn. If you can imagine someone's holding onto the sides of your hips and dragging back, and then you're in a tug of war dragging forward. Don't let me win. Yes. Keep stretching long through your left side ribs. Your left shoulder will just tuck under your body. Oh, there you go. One more inhale. One more exhale. Hands to the floor, downward dog. Did you feel all that stretching? It's the best. You can't really get that by yourself. Let's do the left side once you get to the down dog. So step your left foot forward. Triangle pose and breathe. Give yourself length. And if you're starting from a standing position, just reach and sink your hips deeper and deeper. There you go. Reach for the floor. You got it. And then you're tilting your pelvis just like that. You can feel that in your front inner thigh, can't you? Good work. If you're super flexible, you have different work to do to put in stability. Pull the pit of your belly and yes, like that. You feel the difference in your back? Yeah, stretch now. Across the room toward Kyle. Breathe. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Hands behind you. Interlace your fingers or hold on to a strap. Lift your chest up high and forward fold. Good. You could take a sigh when you get into this fold if it just lets you allow your hands to hang heavy. Good. Even walk your hands a little wider on that towel mark. Take them a little wider. Yep. And let your hands fall toward the wall, that TV wall. Good. If your head rests on the ground, no problem. Maybe even your hands will rest on the ground. If it's too close your head to the ground, bring your feet closer together. Can you feel some even newer space on your side ribs as you breathe with your hands hanging overhead like this? Come back up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Now it's the left leg forward, standing single leg forward fold. So anchor the front foot's big toe knuckle to the ground. 5 toes in the air. Now left hip goes back. It just deep dive drives back while your chest dives forward. Keep folding. Maybe fingertips to the ground if that works for you. And breathe and just feel the space and length you're creating in the back of your leg. Or the space you're creating in your back ribs once more. Keep double checking on that big toe. Keep pressing the big toe. Yes, like that. That's the center of your foot. You can even shift your weight forward a bit, Jen. You might have to soften your knee to do it. Keep coming. That's the middle of the pose. Feel that? You must feel that in your hamstring because your foot's trying to get out of it. Twisting triangle, right hand on the block or floor. Good. Keep breathing. Again, if you have in your imagination the assist, hands squeezing your hips and pulling back, and you're resisting. So chest to the street, Dave. That's it. Whole back, right side body long, and then twist. Long, and then twist. Hands to the floor. Good work. Downward facing dog. This is the point where you know you did the right thing to come to class. Stretch back. Come to a high plank. Lower all the way down to your belly on the mat. Keep your toes turned under, your feet a little bit apart, and your legs really active. Hands behind you at your lower back interlaced. You could be holding a towel. Then press your heels and hands back to the wall behind you, your tailbone back. Stretch your front and lift your chest. That's it. It's not that you have to lift high. We're looking for the length. If you could imagine from your outside ankle bone all the way up your side to your armpit, those 2 points pulling apart, making length. Another breath and come on down. You can shimmy your hips from side to side. And then bend your knees and hold your ankles from the outside. One set of floor bow pose. You could use a strap around your ankles if reaching all the way to your ankles feels kind of far. You can also take it one side at a time. Kick back, rise up. Once you're kicking back like this, still imagine that you're hugging into a center line. Hug in with the arch of your foot and your inner knee, especially the knee part. Especially the knee part. Yes, come on down. Wave your feet from side to side. Hands beside your bottom ribs for upward facing dog. Stretch back into downward facing dog. We're going to take hero pose next. Come onto your knees, knees together, feet open wider than your hips. Maybe you'll just sit here with weight on your hands. Maybe you'll sit lower with weight on your hands. Maybe you'll sit on a block. Maybe you'll sit your hips on the floor. If you're able to let go of what you're holding onto with your hands, put your palms on the soles of your feet, or if the proportions work better, your knuckles and your hands and fists, and sit here and let your knees and your quads stretch. I always need this one. Sometimes I skip camel pose for this. This is one of those that changes quickly if you do it a lot, and then if you don't do it at all, it also changes quickly. This is probably the pose the first time I took yoga and we did this. My very first class, I'm like, why? What's happening here? Why are we doing this thing? These people are crazy. Okay, come on out of it to a tabletop and stretch your legs behind you. So that's actually a meditation pose, believe it or not. Sitting in that and doing meditation. All right, you can come through your hands and sit on your hips and roll onto your back for bridge pose. Once you're on your back, bend your knees, feet on the floor, but underneath of your knees and hip width distance. Then lift your 10 toes in the air here. And before we come up, see if you can feel the feeling of your feet sinking down, again, like you're at the edge of the ocean, and then scooping the sand together between. So there's a hugging in. And when you have that, lift your hips up. Yep, we want to keep the sense of the feet melting into the sand and hugging in. Good. Toes active in the air. Feel a little more fire in the back of your body for this action we're creating. Keep your feet, your active feet, but hug your right knee into your chest. So don't change your left foot. Just hug your right knee in. I know that's a little crazy. And then just imagine you're hugging the center line. So hug with this knee and hug with that knee, foot on the floor. Let's try the other side. Lift your left knee up. And like there's a center line that you can hug into. Hug with your ankle and your inner knee. Good work. Foot on the floor and come on down. All the way down, knees side to side. That's a killer. It is, but once do you feel that when you lock into the center line, it also gets somehow like easier, a whole new burst of energy comes into it. Let's go back up into a bridge, all the way up into your bridge pose. I gave them a little trick at 4 o'clock that was new. I'll give it to you and see if you want to play with this. Now, only if you feel really good in your lower back. If you have any troubles in your lower back, I wouldn't recommend this. If you're in your bridge, you can put your right ankle on your left knee. Good. And then just 3 times, dip your hips to the ground and back up. Ankle flexed and active. You got it. Just a little dip. 3rd time, and put your foot on the floor. And do the other side. Left ankle, right knee. Let your knee drop down toward the ground. 3 times you can just dip your hips. Not too bad, right? And come on down out of the pose. All the way down, knee side to side. Next set of bridge. Come up into bridge. Once you're in the bridge, fingers to the ceiling, flex your wrists, set your hands up for the wheel pose. That's it. Hands on the floor, set them wide, press down and rise up into the wheel, or take the bridge again if that's what you're working with. Now, if your hands seem kind of narrow, next time, make them a little bit wider. With your hands and your feet by the side of the ocean, let them sink down and hug in. Come on down. Knees side to side. We're going to do another one, and then we're going to add on to that little trick you were doing a second ago. Second set of wheel pose. Set your feet a little wider if you can, Erin. Especially yes. Open your heels even just there. Hold that. Yep. You could even take your hands a little wider if that's available. Just like that. Yes, you have so much more access to the pose in the back. Okay, last breath here. Come on down. Okay, you ready for something a little bit new? You might like this or you might not. So start in bridge. So start in the bridge. Put your right ankle on your left knee. You're going to like this or you're not. Active ankles. Flex your feet. Hands on the floor for the wheel. So get your hips up there because it'll help. Press your foot and your hands. See if you can come up into wheel like this. They weren't huge fans of this in the last class. So, active foot. Help get your foot active. That'll help just tap into all of your strength. Oh, Nima, you were right there. Come on down. Come on down. All right. I think you know what's next. Other side. Yep. Get your heel under you. So sometimes people do bridge and their foot's a little in front of their knee. That's a difficult angle to work on this with. You can just do the bridge with your leg up, or when you get to the bridge with your leg up, hands on the floor, check out the wheel. It's not an easy move. It's almost like, I know I'm strong, but where is it for this? Come on down. Supta Baddha Konasana. There you go. Supta Baddha Konasana. There's always more adventure. Hug your knees into your chest. Take dead bug pose. I'm just grabbing a block here, and then we'll do on the next exercise. Okay, you all have blocks now. Your roller there will work too, Brian. That's fine. Hug your block or water bottle or something between your feet at the arches so that you're not rolling out and crushing it with your thighs and your butt cheeks, but you're actually hugging. You could try it right at your arches. You could just also try it long inside of your calves if you'd like. Then curl up. Get to the point where your hips in the back are long and your whole lower back is on the mat. Active feet. Now keep your lower back on the mat while we do this. You can keep your hands reaching or put your fingertips behind your ears, and then we're tapping. If that makes you arch your lower back, don't tap quite so low. So what we don't want to have happen from the side is arch and sink. Arch and sink. We want to keep the sinking as you tap your heels 10 times, 9 times. So no arch in the lower back. So we don't want your pelvis opening and closing. Sink the pit of your belly. So keep your lower back on the ground. Keep it on the ground. Keep it on the ground. You might want your hands under your hips. That could help. Finish the last couple and hug your knees into your chest. That's harder than you think, isn't it? You get into the pose. So we're looking for your body to stay in this position, holding that while your legs are moving. It's more challenging than you think. Let's do one more exercise. Hold the block between your shins or your feet. Legs straight up in the air and really hug the block with your inner line rather than crushing it with the outside. Curl up and again get it to the point where you're like an upside down letter U. Maybe the bottom rib is off the floor, but the pit of the belly's on the ground. Breathe in. And then as you exhale, a little pulse. The pulsing doesn't matter. You could reach up or reach forward. All you're doing is sinking your belly deeper each time. Keep your lower back connected to the ground. You can work with bent knees. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch your whole body out long on the mat. It's something else. If you've never really, it's more of a Pilates way of working with your core. It takes something to change your mindset from kind of the arching and flinging that's typical, like doing crunches in gym class and in the gym, to just deep, deep core work. Okay, I got to keep on moving here today. I just keep getting away from myself with time today. Stay on your back and bend your knees, just like you do for bridge, and step your right foot off of your mat. Drop your right knee down and into the center line. You want to keep a flexed ankle. Now, you will need to sink the pit of your belly in here. Though your right hip might lift off of the ground, your belly sinking helps to fight how much that lifting is. I can feel a lot of stretch down my inner thigh and in my inner knee, but I don't feel pinching or straining in my knee. If you do, come out of it just a little bit. You could also what the angle of your heel on the side of the body is to make adjustments. Now, many of you are ready for something more. Take your left ankle midway up your right thigh and drop your left knee to the ground. So it's an inward rotation of your thigh bone. I'll come around and have a look at these with you. This works. I'll take this right here. And then you can add this ankle on your thigh and drop your knee over. There you go. Now keep the pit of your belly anchored as best you can. You wouldn't be able to make this assist to yourself, but imagine that thigh bone sinking in and lift. Like, it's the best, worst, weird feeling, isn't it? Yes, it's kind of indescribable. Yep. It gets part of your psoas stretching, and that's the weirdest stretch to feel. Just keep breathing. Let your hip bones sink. This can just hang. Can you feel that? It's like weird and good at the same time. Let's do the other side. So take the extra foot off, guide the hanging knee up, and just do the other side. It's like the weird, best, odd feeling movement. Add the extra foot when you feel ready. So it would be right here on the hip and sink and just lift. Isn't that like so weird and good? I used to teach this really older lady private lessons years ago, and she came in with vertigo, and she had gray hair and was up in a bun, and she'd do yoga in her khaki pants and white turtleneck with me. I think she wore a belt too. There's a lot of challenge just in all those things I just told you, like dressed with the constricting clothing and vertigo. Vertigo is really amazing. By the end, she could do the class you can do. But I've never felt this, but whenever she did this pose, she always said it just cleared her sinuses. Like, they all of a sudden cleared. Okay, come out of this pose. Okay, hug your knees into your chest and then roll your feet overhead to plow pose. She was the cutest thing. Well, if you're my age and you liked to read a lot when you were little, I won't say, but did you ever read Mrs. Pigglewiggle? She was the embodiment of Mrs. Pigglewiggle. Feet overhead at home to plow. And I bet you read Mrs. Pigglewiggle when you were little too. If you feel crowded in this pose, I can feel really crowded in it. I always need the stretch it gives me in my neck. But sometimes I'll roll my hand towel up and let it be underneath of my neck so I don't find myself inclined to flatten or straighten out the curve of my neck. Your neck naturally curves up into the spine, up into your neck, like up toward the front of it. This pose, it seems like it would naturally flatten it, especially with a lot of kind of pushing into the pose. So see if you can be easy in your neck. You are welcome to take the pose into shoulder stand. And then back into the plow if you're in shoulder stand. From the plow, put your palms on the ground behind you, the side of your body your head is not on, and keep your feet on the opposite side where they are. Then take your time, one bone at a time, start to roll out of the pose. Just let your feet hang. At a certain point, you'll know you're kind of stuck in the middle. Sigh and just relax your shoulders. See if you can relax that bottom rib down to the mat. That's it, Allison. Stretch. Nice. Hug your knees into your chest. Keep your right knee. Let your left leg become straight and rest on the ground. Take your knee across your body. You might want it to land on your block so that your hips stay stacked up, one on top of the other. So like from the bird's eye view, we'd have just straight pressure down and then away. It's kind of weird and good too, isn't it? Now just breathe into the space we just created. Now, if you want to have the feeling of this assist that Ryan is having, you could interlace your own two fingers, catch your hip, and press it away from you. It's not as good when you have to do it yourself. Let's come back to the center. Hug both knees. Keep your left knee, straighten your right leg. Take your knee across your body. Aim to land it on a block right under the knee or shin. Sometimes it's helpful to just kind of scooch the bottom hip a little deeper under you. Just let yourself be easy. Might work better for this one. Put your shin right there. Then I'll take this. There you go. Here's this. And sink down. You feel that in your lower back a little bit? Mm-hmm. Maybe take a breath in and have a sigh. Then unwind and hug your knees into your chest. I even like to curl up and bring my forehead to my knees. And then relax onto your back, Supta Baddha Konasana. In the studio, you've got a cold eye towel near your upper right or left side of the mat. At home, hopefully you've prepared one for this moment. You can use it over your eyes. Right there, Aaron. I like it also under my neck sometimes. Get yourself set up so your whole body feels pretty good. Make any adjustments you need to. For me, a lot of times I have to just move my back pelvis more like your hips, more toward my heels, taking more of the arch out, the exaggerated arch, to have a more natural feeling of my spine. Once your body feels really good, set up, stretch your legs out long and wide and your arms wide for Shavasana. A deep breath in. Exhale. Begin to deepen your breathing. Add a sigh. Fill your lungs up and have a sigh. And wiggle your fingers and your toes or stretch your arms overhead. Maybe roll your head from side to side and hug your knees into your chest. Roll to the side and come on up into a sitting position. Sit up tall. Once you're sitting tall, sweep your arms overhead. Bring your hands into the center of your chest, fingertips together. Just pause for a second and feel how it is for you right now as a result of your practice. And select an intention. Maybe let it choose you. I am. And then 3 times, let's chant together. Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Inhale and exhale. Namaste. Thank you for joining. Thanks for coming, Mark. And everybody at home, great to see you all. I hope some of you will consider coming to the Himalayan Institute. Grab the bingo challenge cards. It starts in 3 days, and start thinking of the friends that you might like to invite with you for that 3rd week of Move Free. I'll see you next time. I'm here tomorrow morning at 9:15 for Debbie, and then again on Sunday morning at 10. So I hope you'll see you in class again. Thanks for coming.